This is Rousimar Palhares, the UFC's dirtiest fighter. And I'm not talking about the likes of Cyril Gane or John Jones. I'm talking about a fighter whose fight style sought to destroy the career of his opponents. Palhares was a different breed of dirty. Not the fighter that would sneak an eye poke in when the ref wasn't looking. Something much, much worse. Before I delve into why I believe he's the dirtiest fighter of all time, let me give you a brief background on his fight style. Palhares was especially known for his jiu-jitsu skills, with 15 of his 19 MMA wins coming directly by submission. Before Walter Walker, there was Rousimar Palhares. Fighters were scared to get caught in his heel hook. But it wasn't just a loss these fighters feared, because see, Palhares had a bad habit.
Would dive on dudes' legs and just rip them apart.
Oh,
Wouldn't let go of the legs. So guys would be tapping.
He held on to submissions for far too long, endangering his opponent's health and subsequently their careers. The most infamous example of this dirty behavior occurred on October 9th, 2013, when Rousimar Palhares faced Mike Pierce at UFC Fight Night 29. Pierce knew exactly the type of fighter he was facing, calling him out for his antics even before they got in the octagon.
He's been sanctioned before for holding on to a heel hook longer than he was supposed to after the ref called the fight. So, yeah, I think he's a bit of an ass and a bit of a cheat. So I think that's just me stating facts.
This was Palhares' move to welterweight and an opportunity to reinvent himself. But rather than do that, he just proved Mike Pierce right.
Sits in for that leg again. Pierce may be in trouble. Palhares has a collection of legs back home and he's out. And how about that?
Palhares did it again. He couldn't help himself. What he didn't expect, however, was the backlash that this would generate. Unlike his previous fights, the UFC wasn't willing to just give him a pat on the back and let it slide. They were going to make an example out of him.
Bottom line is, anybody who is involved in jiu-jitsu knows that that's the nastiest submission you can put somebody in. And when you get it and you know you got it and the guy taps, you let go. And if you don't, I will cut you.
After the fight, it was revealed that Pierce had torn his meniscus as well as sustained damage to his ACL. At 33 years old, this was a death sentence for Pierce's UFC career. He would fight his next and last fight 2 years after the Palhares bout. Not only did Palhares take away his 4-fight win streak, he also ended his career. 12 years after the fight, Pierce says, "Yeah, I lost, and that sucks in its own respect, but I hate that he tried robbing some of my quality of life." The Pierce fight sealed Palhares' UFC career, but it didn't mean he was done with MMA. The natural step for him would have been to go to Bellator, the number 2 MMA organization in the world at the time. Recognizing the danger of Palhares, Bellator declined to sign him. He was forced to join the World Series of Fighting as his last resort, an organization featuring a young, eyeglass-wearing Justin Gaethje as its lightweight champ. It would later evolve into what we know now as the PFL, but that's beside the point. Palhares had a new opponent in Steve Carl, and
And Palhares is going to watch out, roll with it. That's it. That is it. He has done it again.
he has done it again indeed. In his first fight back, he pulls the same exact trick that got him kicked from the UFC. He just can't let go. But you know what? It's okay, because Palhares had a new opponent in John Fitch, and
Could be trouble. Palhares is going for that, and he's got him. That's it. He's got him.
he held on to submissions longer than JDM had the belt. But once again, people were getting tired of his act. Palhares' last World Series fight would come against famous Twitter influencer Jake Shields. I'll cut to the end of this one too, so as to not waste your time.
Down. He rolls out the Kimura, but this is it. It's it. It's all over.
Along with the punch from Shields, Palhares would receive a 2-year suspension for his late Kimura. He was forced to vacate his World Series belt and would never reach those heights ever again. And oh yeah, in 2012, while still with the UFC, Palhares was caught using steroids. That's why I'm calling him the dirtiest fighter in UFC history. While eye pokes can occur inadvertently, no one cranks a submission too long on accident. Thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions or video ideas, leave it down in the comments below. Anyways, here's Palhares getting pummeled.